2 p.m. Mountain Time, and this is the Tom and Shane Facebook Live. And thank you. Welcome, everyone. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor on AM 1450 KMMS in Bozeman, temporarily on hiatus because of that stupid virus thing that's going around. I haven't heard of that. I don't know what it is, but it's something going on around the world. And of course, Shane Matobin, half man, half amazing, is on with me, of course, the best co-host in radio and YouTube and anywhere else that you want to find. And if you want to reach us anytime, you can do that real easily. 406-478-8298 is our text number. You can text us 24/7, 365. We'll even answer on Christmas morning if you want to text us on Christmas morning. Hey, that's how dedicated we are to our viewers and listeners and all of that. Also, if you want to talk to us, you can do it on our AM 1450 KMMS app on your smartphone. Now, get it at the Apple Store or Google Play, AM 1450 KMMS app. Or if you can't get enough of us, hey, why don't you listen to our 370-plus shows? We're approaching 4,000 downloads of our shows, so somebody apparently likes us. And go over to KMMSAM.com and you can make that happen. And if you're on YouTube right now, hey, down in the right-hand corner, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, and you'll never miss another one of our shows. So, all right, we got to rock and roll today. So, Shane, we got 5.2 million more people unemployed. Boy, the numbers are getting worse and worse.
That's right. You're over 20 million now have filed for unemployment. And as we talked about it yesterday, it's a state responsibility for unemployment. Mm-hmm. And it's an interesting situation because you have people like Mayor de Blasio, on today begging for $7.5 billion because that's the lost revenue from shutting the city down. And that means, he's going to have a problem keeping people working for the city employed even. So, of course, he'll get his paycheck because he is essential.
That's true. And I'm sure his gym membership will come back when he, when he's back to work. Or
that's right. Yeah.
I'm sure he's sheltering in place at home, right? He's not at City Hall, I don't think, is he?
No.
I wouldn't think so.
He has everybody's basements become their bunker like in 62.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Boy, it's hard to tell who's worse, de Blasio or Cuomo. Boy, I don't know. They are both.
Yeah. Well, he was on again today this morning with all this great news, and he was expressing it with such trepidation. He didn't seem too excited to be able to give such great news about his state and the decline and the curve dropping.
Yeah.
Clearly, as we've noted, and I guess everybody knows by now, all the modeling they used, it's like for global warming, right? Same type of modeling, right? They didn't get the modeling right on global warming. The oceans haven't risen 10 feet and flooded every coast in the world.
Well,
and now this virus is terrible. It's horrific because it's done it's allowed governments to do what they've done. And people are at home, not, that's all they're watching. It's still not worse than the flu virus this year. It's so it's one of those things you look at, and the contradiction in terms of how bad this is now being determined by all the testing, because now they're at 1 or less than 1%, death rate.
Population,
As we discussed, the flu virus is 0.1. If this drops below 1, boy, I'll tell you, science is going to have a real problem explaining this. If it drops, for the sake of argument, that's what I want to watch, the mortality rate. As they test more and the mortality rate drops, say less than 5, game on. I mean, like I said, the mortality rate for the flu virus, H1N1, is 1%, and no one shut the world down for that.
Yeah. All right, Karen's here. Hi, enjoying the opportunity to see you. Jim's here. Hi, Tom and Shane. Linda's here. Hi, guys. Karen says, is it possible for Trump to use the Commerce Clause to open up businesses in these states with governors not opening their states? I don't know of any governor that doesn't want to open their state other than maybe Michigan. I don't know
Well,
if
no,
he used the Commerce Clause for that or not. That's
no, he doesn't
you're
need.
the constitutional guy.
Yeah, he does. The Commerce Clause, the 10th. I said 11th, but it's the 10th.
10th
Um,
Amendment, yeah.
yeah, 10th Amendment. That has to do with trade between
Mhm.
states primarily. And there's a lot of precedent that it has been utilized for that, for the purpose of states' rights over, legal precedent to the Supreme Court. But your president's acting under the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000, and the act was amended, and Title 42 of the United States Code, and the provisions entitled the president to determine disaster relief in the public health and welfare. So, and there's other congressional findings and declarations in this act that make it very clear that he solely has the right to determine this. So it's going to be what we said. He's going to look at this like a forest fire. Like in a big fire or a big forest in a state, and he's going to have the Sky Bridge and the military and the everybody fly into some place that sprouts. He'll assure all the governors that that's what the federal government will do. They've reloaded everybody medically for what they need, and will continue to do that. So he'll leave it up to the governors. Good play, good political play. He wins because he says we're going back to work, but he politically can't be attacked for it because it'll be up to the governors to decide.
Yeah. No, I think it will be. It kind of all depends on how they want to do it. Each governor is gonna probably look at their state and say, okay, the counties that don't have any cases at all, let's open those up, and we'll do it piecemeal, and the ones with the worst will be the last that will open up, maybe, or the rate of new cases, or yeah, I mean, there's a whole litany of ways they could do this.
Well, yeah, Governor Devine, I think it is. I think it's Governor Devine of Ohio announced today he's opening his state. So he's already moved ahead because he was on that phone call with Trump.
Mhm.
And Trump, as I said, he doesn't react to situations; he solves them. So he's thought this through. He knows all the numbers, and they were saying yesterday or the day before in the news conference that over 40% of the counties in your country have no virus at all. There's no
Mhm. Yeah.
infection.
Yeah. Well, Trump gave us talk today. They think he's going to announce the how what guidelines he's going to use to open the open things up
Yeah,
with.
open the state, sure.
Yeah, so I guess we'll find out. He's expected to announce a bipartisan advisory council Thursday, including dozens of lawmakers from both sides of the aisle, and it will be Trump's new guidelines will be opening up America again, yada yada yada, and so it'll be governor led, I think, for the most part.
Of
Pretty
course,
sure
yeah.
that he's gonna, because all politics are local, so to speak. I
Of
guess
course.
so. Yeah, so
Like
that's where we are.
like the local medical officer, like in your county, will make a
Mm-hmm.
determination and decide.
Sure. Yeah.
Get it to the lowest point on the totem pole.
Yeah. Something like that, right?
Yeah,
Get it down where.
I don't want to decide.
No, I hear you. Well, the other thing that's going on, Shane, is that hey, the stimulus is out of money. We're out of money,
That's right.
man.
The
Yeah,
smart workers
I
loan.
guess
Yeah.
Friday tomorrow, I think they're going to be out of money. They're turning loan applicants away. I guess unemployment going to be in the 5 range or higher
Of course.
for the moment, anyway, with another 5.5 million people applying. So yeah, it's going to be a tough month for sure. Um,
Well,
till we figure
we're,
all this out, until people start going back to work anyway. So
yeah, well, we're halfway through the month, and the determination between now and the 1st of May, I think, will be really where are we heading with this finally, and what determination has the Trump group and his team under Vice President
mhm.
do have they determined? Have they come to the conclusion? Again, that the mortality rate is being driven down with testing,
Mhm.
and that they're going to find out this is another virus, and any talk of being shut down like in New York with Pastor Cuomo and Commie de Blasio about, oh, we're not going to open up for 6 months or 8 months, or
Mhm.
it's just um, it- it's very sad that their lack of view of reflection that the cure is becoming worse than the disease, and I don't know how Obama
But
got
that's what we
through it.
were always afraid of, wasn't it? That we were always going to be in that kind of situation. That you know,
Well, I don't think science should be determining public policy.
yeah.
Science might be responsible for determining public health,
Mhm.
but in this case, they've been wrong. I mean,
Oh
they
yeah.
panicked this
Yeah.
country, the world, because
Mhm.
a lot of countries. I don't know that they would have done the same thing, except for what Trump did, because they told him the numbers were going to be astronomical. And of
Mhm.
course, when we look at this, the footprint, as I've been talking about since January, is CDC's own estimates for the October through April 4th numbers on the annual flu, the H1N1, and 56 million flu in illnesses. We're not even close to that.
Yeah.
26 million medical visits.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even think we're at 10% of that. I mean,
Oh,
10% of that
not
would
even
be
close.
2.6
No, not
million.
even. Yeah,
Yeah.
not even close. S-
740,000 hospitalizations and
mhm.
62,000 deaths. I mean,
Yeah.
this flu is not going away. It's another one. It's got to be dealt with.
Mhm.
A vaccine is 18 months away. Oh, isn't that great for the government? They're going to spend billions and billions of dollars vaccinating people that may not work and
Yeah.
successfully.
Well.
And they may, with this this whole issue of Plaquenil and Z-Pack being a potential
Mhm.
cure, you know, um, I see football in the fall. I really do. I don't see hockey coming back, baseball, basketball. They're done for the season, unfortunately. But
Well, yeah, that may be. Yeah, the CDC estimates that influenza has resulted in 9 million to 45 million illnesses, 140 to 800,000 hospitalizations, and 12,000 to 61,000 deaths every year since 2010. I mean, we're,
that's
we're
right, over
a long way
400,000
from
people,
that.
right? Yeah,
I mean, we
yeah.
really are. Yeah.
And there's
From
over 680,000 people die from heart disease in your country every year.
yeah, so
Um, almost
that's
six.
not contagious, though.
No, no, but it's
Yeah.
well, they know that.
And
They
that's the
know
reason.
that's
Well, I,
true.
I don't think I don't think heart disease is contagious. I don't know. It might be, but I don't think it is.
But no, but a lot of doctors are arguing over the
Mhm.
fact if it might be a virus of some type.
Well, it could
There's
be.
no
Yeah.
there's no question. Congestive heart disease is
Yeah.
a problem that people create themselves with their eating
Hmm.
habits
Yeah.
and
They're
different things. But
yeah.
yeah, there's lots of cases of people healthy all their life. They're 45, been healthy, athletic, and boom, all of a sudden cancer, or
Yeah.
like in the lungs, like from smoking, but they never even had a cigarette
Yeah.
or
No,
the other
I
stuff.
understand that. Yeah.
The other stuff that everyone
Yeah.
smokes, but some don't.
From our Facebook line, I believe the stimulus went to banks' favorite children, and the rest are going to be left out in the cold. Well, I think probably bankers may have gone to their own depositors first. I don't know that, but the people that have the bank there might have gotten preferential treatment in some banks. I don't
No,
know, but
none of this money went to banks. The banks are all fluid, liquid.
it went to the banks. You applied to a bank to get the loan.
I appreciate that,
Yeah.
but the person suggesting the bank is just the flow through.
Yeah.
For the small business loan, it's
But
one.
the bank is the one that says yes or no.
The bank is the one that says, yeah, but if they say no,
Yeah.
you can go to another bank. I mean, you can go to
Well,
another state.
I mean, yeah, you can, but
the guidelines are on that are pretty difficult for a bank to say no. You just have to have the right information, and if
well,
you
that's
don't,
what I mean. It's based on the information you provide. They say either yes or no.
yeah.
So, but yeah. Bruce says, hi, Tom and Shane. Craig says, you know what they are calling COVID? Boomer remover. All right. Thanks, Craig, for that one. Yeah. Are you talking about us? Thank you very much. Get off our show. No, we need everybody here we could get. Stay, Craig. We love you.
Yeah, we need more numbers. You need to tell your friends, and
yeah,
you need to
tell everybody. Yeah, look at the crawl on the bottom. Spread the word. Yeah, subscribe on YouTube. Check us out on KMMSAM.com. And hey, we're there. So, well, the other thing is
that we're informative, interesting, and something you don't get on other news places.
Well, Rick just came out today with the CDC things we've been reporting for what, 6 months?
Exactly.
Ever since this thing started back in November, I guess.
Well, yeah, but we were alarmed at the numbers back in November, just the beginning of the flu season. So we were talking about viruses, and then
we're talking about the flu for sure. Yeah,
but that's the thing that's so amazing to me. I know I've repeated these numbers, but it's just staggering that 14,000 Americans died in 2009, 2010 from the H1N1.
Mm-hmm.
1.4 billion people were infected. Over 600,000 people died.
Yeah.
And the woke media didn't even go there. They literally did not even go there. They keep trying to lay the death of people at Trump's feet, as the expression goes.
Mm-hmm.
And no one accused Obama of waiting 6 months, and the result were the deaths that Americans suffered.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing was it was a flu, so yeah, it was contagious. But they determined, again, the mortality rate was so low because you just need a thermometer and a runny nose and vomiting. For a doctor to determine you got the flu, right? Like this.
Well, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, you either had a cold, you had a flu, or you had pneumonia. That was kind of the progression, I think, of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, the thing with this one though is, unlike the flu, which is certainly bad enough, this one seems highly contagious. If you've got a cold or flu or something like that, you can certainly give it to another person. But we have people walk around that have absolutely no symptoms whatsoever.
Correct.
That are, affecting other people or
well, that's what they're talking about. But remember, it's really hard right now to believe half their story because half their story's been wrong by 400%.
Well, yeah.
So if half their story is wrong by 400%, I have a real hard time believing the other half. I'm sorry that I'm sure maybe I shouldn't be saying that.
There's so many unknowns because apparently there are people walking around with this that don't know they have it, and many people have had no symptoms at all and gotten over it. And other people have got deathly sick.
The 60% of the people, by the way, that died in New York, no one's claimed.
Yeah, they don't know if they died from that or if they died from a complication they already had.
Yeah, so they're now burying them. They take them in body bags and put them in a wood casket and barge them to Love Island, which they used in 1918 for mass graves.
Yeah. We've seen that on TV and newspapers and wherever else. Yeah.
Yeah, when the demolition party in some of these urban cities decide to start furnishing people, you'll realize what contempt is.
Yeah, that's not going to be good. So, well, as this is something interesting that I don't know if it's ever been done before, Shane, with uh, the president adjourning Congress. I don't remember that happening. You're more of a historian than I am. You would probably know if any of the presidents in modern history have adjourned the Congress or not. But yeah, I haven't heard of that. I've heard of him calling them back. Our governor has done that. Our governor's called the legislators back from time to time. But I don't
Yeah,
recall a
well,
president, kicking Congress out so I can make some recess appointments.
yeah, when the Congress is adjourned.
Yeah.
And one of the things that um, I remember in this regard was that the history of it. I mean, it goes back to the beginning of your country, and there have been times like during the Civil War. Lincoln did the same thing. FDR during World War II. During the pandemic, when Wilson was in office, he did the same thing. I think in more recent history, I could be wrong. I have to look it up, but I believe Bush Senior had an opportunity to do it. What the problem is right now is because of the narrow hours that the Senate sits, and because of the willingness of the demolition party to hold up any appointments either in committee or on a floor vote. Um, he can only appoint people. That's why most of the people in his cabinet, over a majority, are they're not approved members. Like even the head of the Department of Defense. He's still waiting to be approved, but he's
Well,
running
yeah,
it.
I know. Yeah. Well, that's the whole point. From our Facebook line, Craig, COVID-19 originated from an animal. Well, I think they pretty well debunked that, I believe. Now, they're still investigating, but um, so humans don't recognize it like we can the flu virus. That's why it's more deadly. Humans have no antibodies to fight it. Um, so most at least one of the reasons that and hasn't China pretty well admitted that they blew it in Wuhan or wherever
Yes,
Wuhan.
that's right. We've reported there's been studies done by their own uh, technical university, South China Technical University did a report on it. And here, the bottom line is, was it accidental? The story in the news, of course, today is some young woman was working in the lab, got infected, came out, infected her boyfriend. He went to the wet market and it spread. So it's either one of two things. 50-50. Either it's accidental or intentional. My call with the fentanyl issue we talked about as well, shame me once, shame on you. Shame me twice, shame on me. They did it intentionally. You know, uh, Millions were infected in December, celebrating different the two holidays, in China, and then they allowed those people to like literally travel around the world, knowingly they're going to infect people. And I really think they gave instructions to people to go to docks where people were getting on boats and talk to people getting on the boats. Aren't you excited to go on your trip? That's the only way I can
For
see.
what reason?
What? I'm sorry.
For what reason? Why would they? Why would they want to spread it around the world?
Because exactly what's happened.
Why?
They figured that, well, they figured they could pick up the back end of it and be the great hero, destroy the American economy in particular. They don't
But
much care
they
about
why? I mean, they're in the process of destroying every economy on Earth.
Yeah, but that's the Chinese. That's the Chinese way. They don't care about people.
Well,
do
they,
not care.
they surely care about money.
Well, we've agreed on that.
Yeah,
But I'm saying in the context of,
yeah.
um,
But if
um,
you don't have any customers, there's nothing. There's no spatulas you can sell to if everybody's dead.
well,
I mean,
I,
that doesn't hold water for me. I don't know.
we're talking long term.
Well, I understand long term, but still, she wants the money today. He doesn't want it 50 years from now. He wants it today. And so do the generals. They want it now. Now, the story is that they were working on this to create a vaccine. And then, if you want to tell me they spread it around the world and suddenly they've got the vaccine for it, then we might talk.
Okay, fair enough. We'll find out.
Well, we will, yeah, yeah. But I don't think it's gee, let's go out and destroy all of our customers and then we'll be fine. And what? I,
Yeah,
I, don't, I don't see it. I'm sorry.
right. Fair enough.
Okay.
Well, I can.
Well, I know you can. Well, the world leaders are coming down on President Trump for defunding, or at least talking about. I don't know if he's officially done it or not, but anyway, he's talking very seriously about defunding it. Bill Gates is saying, "Oh my God, if this is the time to do it, oh my God," he's flipping out, of course. That gee, we need them more than ever. Well, it seems like. Taiwan needs them more than ever too. And what are they getting?
Yeah.
Nothing. The World Health says, "Sorry, Taiwan, we just don't have the time for you." Because you and China don't get along, so you're just kind of left out of the you're left out of the loop.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, and you, as you pointed out when we were talking before the show, the head of the Chinese Health Organization, as I call it, not the World Health, the
Yeah.
Chinese Health Organization. Like, it's like CNN now. It's now the Chinese National News Network, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, used to be the Clinton News Network, not the
Yeah, for
Chinese
sure.
News Network. But the WHO called China, and they said, no, that's we're good. The 30 billion we're giving you, that's good. We're good with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's no backup there. But I'm happy to see Bill Gates and his foundation that's worth $70 billion, because Buffett threw in his money and Gates threw in his. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's great that they're doing it. Um, we jumped on this WHO story in February, and sadly, the 200 million they spent last year in travel expenses, hotels, foods,
Mm-hmm.
planes, and so forth was more than they spent on malaria, HIV/AIDS, and 3 other major diseases. So clearly, they don't have any idea of establishing priorities except personal ones, and that's called corruption.
Yeah.
Simple, right?
Yeah. From our Facebook chat, I'm sorry, bending the Constitution to get your way is not American. We should not tolerate this from any president, else it sets a precedent. Next Democrat president will do the same. As a constitutional conservative, I say no. Well, the previous Democrat president did do recess appointments for the National Labor Relations Board, if you remember that, and they were challenged in court. And the president lost, I believe. Obama lost that deal, where he tried to load the court with pro-union people, or the National Labor Relations Board with pro-union folks.
Yes. Well, the recess appointment is under Article 2, Section 2, Clause 3, and it specifically says that while the president makes appointments to be approved by the Senate, when the Senate is in recess, he can make a recess appointment until such time they resit and take it up.
But they still have to confirm that appointment.
Right.
Yeah.
But the point is that the appointment has to be still approved. But as if you look at the setup he's had to this point and under the last 3 years, he's had to make determinations of the priorities, and judges were a big priority. So
Yeah.
450 judges later, and several treaties that he did, trade agreements. So the Senate is a very it's a process of review and advise to the review for the legislation they get from the House and to advise the president.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get 100 guys in a room to agree. And with the politics you have and the determination of the demolition party, to do everything they can to take down a president instead of
Hmm.
being united and working on. I mean, could you imagine Senator, want to cry from New York and speaker from let's go to the Chinese parade from San Francisco, actually supporting the president in anything really. They do
Hmm.
it behind the scenes because clearly they both did it to approve, his tax plan and several other things that have gone on. But that
Hmm.
they realized it would be so disingenuous not to approve certain legislation, they
True.
still went
Yeah.
ahead and did it. So
Hmm.
in this case, they just want to wrangle him, but he does have this right, and he'll use it. And he's good at creating a circle in the media and controlling the the you know the, the media scram with the woke media and the cycle by bringing up different things during these news conferences he has. It's smart of him. It keeps them working, but the most important thing is he keeps teaching Americans probably stuff about their government they never even knew.
Yeah. From our Facebook, in the movie 12 Monkeys, it only took one person to spread the virus around the world, and he had a harebrained idea. Maybe the Chinese guy had a harebrained idea. You could also, one of the Beyond the Apes movies, also, they spread all that, whatever would kill humans so the apes could take over.
That's
They
right.
spread that all over the world. Yeah. From Craig, Obama tried that power grab. We should not allow Trump to either.
It's
Thankfully
not a
we have
power grab.
thankfully we have a constitution which prevents the president from being autonomous.
That's right.
So that's the good thing.
Yeah.
What about the War Powers Act? The president's power during an actual war and act of war. What about that, giving him the power? And Linda wants to know, I'm not clear, did this virus spread all over China? I know it spread so fast to U.S. and other countries. We lead in deaths. Explain. Well, I think you pointed out yesterday that if you wanted to talk about the European Union, they have more deaths than we do. I mean, we're 50 states, they're 27 countries now that
That's right.
Britain's gone.
UK's gone. That's right.
Yeah. So if you want to look at the 27 countries in the European Union as states, they're way ahead of us, obviously.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah.
as we talked about it this
Yeah.
week, the
Mhm.
numbers are just incredibly, and you think that you've seen or heard
Yeah.
everything, and then you realize the numbers of course in Europe are 700,000 and over 79,000 deaths. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's one of these things that you don't hear in the media. They don't want to talk about
Hmm.
it. They don't want to make comparisons to relieve the anxiety of the American people. They want the American people anxious and angry.
Yeah.
They want anxious about their lives and angry at Trump.
Hmm.
And that's just it's yeah. And
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, Tom.
Hmm. Well,
926,000. Listen, it's 100 million almost, and or 920 or 926,826 people, on almost a million just in the EU. 78,000 have died, and 222,000 have recovered. It's about 30, about a 30% recovery.
mhm.
So all right,
Yeah.
25%. But
Mhm.
you look at these numbers and you realize that it's tantamount to misrepresentation. A lot of countries now are opening over there, as you know.
Well,
we
yeah.
talked Denmark's
Well,
over
the other thing too is that Italy, which was hit very hard, had a tremendous number of Chinese expatriates that went back and forth between China and Italy. Same with
That's right.
Spain, and
Come
those were two of
along.
the countries hardest hit in the European Union. But on Monday,
Great.
Trump had asserted
I
that
just
he
gonna
had
say,
total authority over the decision to reopen the country. I think I don't know. That was probably a poor choice of words. I think he didn't want the governors all reacting at once, and then all of a sudden you've got all this screaming of, "Hey, where's my help?" Because we opened too soon, or we did this, or we did that, and
let's use
I think that's the issue. Yeah,
let's use an analogy we've talked about before.
sure.
The Federal Reserve was created because, as we've talked about, the principal reason were states were issuing all their own currency.
Mm-hmm.
They were issuing all kinds of coins and paper currency. So, Woodrow Wilson said, no, we can't continue doing this. So he set up the Federal Reserve and the Treasury Department to print one currency for the country, and all the states had to stop printing their own
Yeah,
currency.
they're all yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is quite similar. He isn't going to tell an individual state you have to open up. He's already said this all along. The governors are
Yeah, the
responsible for
governor is responsible for it. Yeah,
and they've been
tell
responsible
them
for
they
taking
can't.
care
Yeah,
of their
yeah.
people, and they're the ones that have failed in their medical systems, because we've gone over these numbers. And when you talk about the millions of people that have gone to, city, county, local, clinical, state hospitals for the flu,
Yeah.
it's in vast millions of people. So your system didn't collapse. What happened is it ran out of equipment, and that's the responsibility of the governors. And so what he said, look, the federal government, he said this all along, we're here to back you up. So now he's got the right under the Defense Production Act of 1950 to say, we're out. It's over now. It's not over now. We will try to overcome it. It's not going away, because it's not. Someone's
Yeah.
got to say that.
Yeah.
It's here like the flu. So we have to mitigate it as best we can. And we've done a good job. And I'm very proud of everyone for having mitigated it and not allowing it to spread. But now we got to go back to work. These are the guidelines. I will be there to support you. If you have a problem with a flashpoint, call the vice president. If you need money to reopen and help business, call my business team.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just
No, I agree. I think he's talking to each governor individually, and they're going to decide what to do, what they need. New York is obviously not going to open as fast as Topeka, Kansas will, I don't think.
Yeah, but that's not to say, look, if you go look at New York, which, by the way, I have,
Mm-hmm.
and you go look at, county by county in the state of New York, there are a lot of counties in New York that have mitigated. I mean, they're not having an issue.
Yeah, just like in Montana, not every county in every state has this.
Right.
Chicago has the bulk of Illinois. There's few cases down state, but very few. But these are big city issues in most cases.
Wouldn't you like to have been a fly on the wall during one of these conference calls with all 50 governors, right?
And do they all talk at once? Or?
Well, of course they don't, but it would be interesting to hear the conversation that we're having between governors. Like this governor saying, "I'm ready to open. Let's go.
Yeah,
give me the right to open."
and others are going, light, and here's the money I need. Here's the equipment.
That's right.
I need. Let's make a deal.
Let's get on with it.
What's behind door number 3 or whatever, something like that. So, but the president can't be the president can't be a king. That's the issue there, Shane. So anyway,
right.
Yeah.
But of course, the woke media is trying intensely to continue to call him a liar. They didn't react fast enough. that
Yeah.
it's really bad because of what he and again, what happened in New York is clearly now the
Hmm.
science is wrong, not going to happen across your country. Look at
Yeah.
California.
Yeah.
I mean, California is bigger than New York.
Oh,
Look at
yeah.
Florida. Look at Florida, and look at the
Hmm.
people in southern Florida. Look at Arizona and
Yeah.
the older population there.
Oh, sure.
And
Well, look
those
at
governors,
I was looking at San Diego last night. They got about 200 deaths in San Diego, and that's about the sixth or seventh largest city in the
in the
country. I
state,
mean,
oh, in
yeah,
the
in the
country, yeah,
country,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean, they go back and forth between Dallas, Fort Worth, I think, as to who's
that's right.
bigger between
Well,
those two. But yeah,
and even Texas again, yes, they've
yeah,
had problems,
hmm,
but I mean, I guess you'd have to say Louisiana's the worst outside New, but it's
hmm,
in regards to numbers. God
yeah,
bless the souls that
hmm,
have gone. The bottom line that you know these numbers aren't as harsh, and they mitigated it very quickly. The
yeah,
federal government mitigated it very quickly.
hmm,
Um, so anyway, the bottom line here is it can be addressed, it can be dealt with, it's not going away,
yeah,
and yes, maybe they can come up with a vaccine for it because it's a stable
hmm,
structure, and we'll see.
yeah.
But that's a year and a half from now because of the trials that for 80 years they've gone through for a vaccine if you're going to release a vaccine to the public.
Yeah.
So you either mitigate it properly and try to control its spread, and that
Yeah.
principally is where you're at.
Yeah. From our Facebook chat line, Andrew Como said that Trump can't tell him what to do. He's not a king. And Andrew said to the mayor of New York, "You can't do that. I'm the king."
Yeah, I know.
That was
Hey,
pretty good. And
politics is cool, baby.
Larry says Chicago should be a state of their own. I think Chicago should be annexed by Wisconsin.
Yeah, right. Yeah, give it up, baby. Give
Illinois
it
would
up.
be a much better state if it was Chicago, Wisconsin, rather than Chicago, Illinois. I think so. They can,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Well, they should also take Gary, Indiana, with them.
Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting. You've now given me the opportunity because you segued to states.
Yes.
Now, I want to bring up a particular thing. The governor of California,
Mm-hmm.
um, about 3 weeks
Newsom.
ago, Newsom,
Newsom.
he
Yeah.
made a statement and he said that, California is the fifth or sixth largest economy in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We have 40 million people living here. We're basically a city state. Interesting comment. Where did
Yeah.
that come from?
Yeah.
So we've talked about this a lot because, the denial the Democrats had since the 6th of November 2016, he didn't win. He's
Yeah.
not really the president.
Yeah. It's not
What I'm
really.
watching is a hologram. Okay, this is a cartoon. He's
Yeah.
not really running the country, saving
Yeah.
the economy, changing the trade,
Yeah.
and everything else.
Yeah.
So,
Those damn Russians.
I had this epiphany, and with everything Nancy Pelosi and
Schumer.
the demolition party are trying to do about voting, changing the voting in your country and voting ID and everything.
Oh, the ballot, the mail-in ballots,
Yeah,
which favors the Democrats highly because in most
incredibly.
states
Yeah.
you can go out and pick up the ballots.
I think it was Kansas today overrode the
Yeah.
governor's veto of voter ID. So you got to have a
Yeah.
picture ID to vote there.
Mhm.
And the your federal government's offered, I believe, to do new Social Security cards with pictures on it. Perfect solution. You
Sure,
don't pay
that'd be
for it.
great. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
go to the where you get your driver's license, and
Yeah.
get a picture taken, show them your passport or ID, and they send it to Social
Yeah.
Security, put your picture on it, and send you a new card. Anyway, having said
Yeah.
that, it's
I
my
can't
belief
wait
that
for. I'm sure Juan and Jose can't wait to run down there and get their card.
yeah. Well, it just occurred to me that between global warming and this virus, the Democratic Party's probably now I see why they picked Biden. I think they did it intentionally, to be honest with you, and here's why. We all know the Democratic Party's is a regional party now. It's now down to 16 states. Primary situation: California, Oregon, Washington, the entire West Coast. You fly over states to the East Coast, and you have a couple in between, Colorado, maybe a little bit, and a couple others, Wisconsin,
Illinois would be
Michigan,
one, yeah.
in Illinois. But the legislators may be Republican, or governor, Democrat,
Right. Mhm.
demolition, and then you get the East Coast, and it's more like New York. But having said that, I think the reason they picked Biden is because it's gonna be such a trouncing that they're gonna deny it. They're gonna deny it. They'll say, "Nah, this was rigged, and we deny this election." And then all these uh, 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 urban centers, the principal cities of your country have been run for by Democrats for 10, 20, 30 years. They're all sanctuary cities. So they're going to get together as a group and say, we're changing our name to city states. And the federal government won't agree with it. So we're going to skip by the federal government, and we're just going to secede from the state as a city state. Not from the union. Don't want to do that. But from the state. So,
Mhm.
if Chicago, Illinois, they become a city state, secede from Illinois. And then they demand 2 senators because they have representatives already in the House because they're an urban center, right? They're going to have, I can't remember how many
I don't think you
congressmen.
could be a state though without. You can't
That's
just
right.
become a state if you want to.
I'm trying to find out because I have yet to find any state constitution that
You have to
doesn't.
vote on it. Statehood is a
I
matter of
appreciate that.
voting and has been forever. We let Alaska in. We
I'm
let
just,
Hawaii in.
I'm
I
just
mean,
trying to
they just didn't suddenly say, "Hey, we're states. Send us the money."
no, but we're talking about the demolition party, and
Well, I understand
these are
that,
all
but
sanctuary cities. They're ignoring the
yeah,
federal government now
yeah.
and getting away with it. So why not secede from your state, become a city
Yeah.
state, and then demand you get two senators, and then the demolition party control the Senate forever. I mean, of course, it'll be a constitutional crisis, but your woke
You
media,
can't do
no,
that. I don't know why you're even talking about this. It's
because
not
the woke
possible.
media will support it. Because the woke
Well, it
media
doesn't
will
matter
support it.
who supports it. You still got to have the vote of the people, or they're not going to vote for it.
You don't know that.
Oh, I do know
You
that.
don't know that.
I do know that. I know
No, you
there's
know it.
only. I do. I know there's 27 amendments to the Constitution that had to be voted on.
Nothing in
I
there
know.
about this. There's nothing in
Come
there
on.
about it. There
Well, you need to. I don't know. You need to.
States'
You need to
rights,
do a little
maybe.
more research on this, man, because states just didn't say, "Hey, we're going to
Tom,
be a
help
state."
me out here. I'm trying to go viral, okay?
I understand
I'm
that.
trying to get someone to
I'm
pick up
helping
one of
you.
our stories
I'm
and go
helping you
viral.
by calling BS.
It's no BS. It's a great idea.
Well, it might be a great
Okay,
idea,
all
but
right,
it
hold
can't
on,
work.
hold on. I have
I'm
a
holding.
question for you. Wait,
All
you're
right.
gonna
Go ahead.
punch your argument right through the middle. Okay,
All right. Give it to me, man.
all right. Sanctuary City. Where'd that
What
come from?
about them?
No, where'd it come from?
Well, it doesn't have
Why
anything
do they
to do.
exist? How does a sanctuary city exist and ignore
Mhm.
federal law? Tell me how does
Because
that
they
work?
can justify it.
Well, that's what I just said. They're going to deny the election, get together, and say we're segregating or we're seceding from our state to create our own city state because we can't put up with all this,
Mhm.
this Republican
And they'll be
gerrymandering.
self-supporting by money. How?
Well, they've got their own city income. And
Oh,
that
well, that I'm sure will
you
be
didn't answer my
plenty.
sanctuary city question.
Yeah, good. I said this.
They're sanctuary cities now. They're not calling themselves city states. They're just sanctuary cities.
But
So the
But
wording.
why are they sanctuary cities?
Okay,
Because
then
it's
all right.
money.
They
It's
don't change
money.
their name. Fine, they don't change their name to a city, and they say
Okay.
we're seceding from the state as a sanctuary city,
Yeah.
and we want 2 senators because we now have congressmen in the House, and
Yeah.
as a sanctuary city on our own, we
Yeah.
are entitled to 2 senators.
and we'll watch them go broke while that's going on. So.
But most of them are broke now, Tom.
But they're subsidized by the U.S. taxpayer, who will not be involved in the state they're
I
in.
can't wait to see Juan Williams and Anderson Cooper and Don Lemon and all these guys talk. Wolf Blitzer. They'll all be,
Yeah.
this is going to be good. This is where it's going. You ain't. We've been right. I've called out some pretty bizarre stuff.
Well, yeah, but this is pretty bizarre. I don't know.
Well, of course it is. I'm going to go viral. Come on.
This will do it, maybe. I don't know. Linda says no
You think?
mail-in voting. Fraud would happen. Yeah, fraud would happen if we had all mail-in voting. And
Of course it is.
let's
That's what it
see. Isn't that what the North and South did? The southern states in the northern states went to war over it, and it was actually their independence is with the war was over. So
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
A lot of people believe the
so
Civil
they have to go
War.
to war. So
A lot of people believe that the Civil War was fought over slavery. No,
Mhm.
Lincoln
No,
didn't make his proclamation until 2 years into the war.
mhm.
The Demolition Party is a party of slavery.
Yeah.
They're the party of Civil War. They're the party of Jim Crow laws that they wrote and enacted and used to control the South after the Civil War. They elected Woodrow Wilson, who was an absolute racist and segregationist. Not to mention all the other Democratic Demolition Party people that have been in your country for 150 years. They're FDR. It's an endless number of people.
Mhm.
And when you have a president eulogize a senator from Virginia that was an avowed KKK member, Senator Byrd, and at his funeral, and his wife Hillary Clinton get up at the same funeral and said, "This was my mentor.
Yeah.
This was the guy that got me here, and now he's gone." The guy was a wizard in the KKK.
Well,
So
go back to
all
go
these,
back
all these
go back
African American people on the
go back
woke
to Strom
media
Thurmond.
that
And,
support the Democratic Party are decrying the dead slaves, the dead Jim Crow, the dead people of the Great Society, and supporting a party that has been horrid, non-supportive, and nothing but racial and racist towards them. So if that doesn't go viral, I don't know what will, because it's true. The facts are there, the stories there, books written for 100 years about it.
Larry says, "Really good show today, Tom. I'm glad we're keeping you around, Larry. It's a pleasure. We're happy to do it."
Everyone's left by now.
Yeah,
That guy's a wacko.
He is a wacko. Democratic Party endorses Biden because whoever is his VP would take over his position because of him being unfit. His VP will probably be a black woman. We're betting on Abrams from Georgia.
From Georgia, yeah.
Yeah, will be the guy.
I think
gal,
the governor from Michigan blew up, and this week.
Yeah, I think she ran over her own parade. I think. Yeah.
And Camilla from California. No one likes to laugh. Terrible laugh.
Joe Biden doesn't know what he had for breakfast this morning. That's a good one. Yeah.
He's been eating Fruit Loops.
Yeah. Jim says, "Tom, how do you look so great?" Hey, good genes, Jim. Jim and I went to grade school together.
Did you really?
We've known each other for like 80 years or so. I don't know. Shane needs.
All right, let's back up here, okay? Maybe.
Well, hang on. We got a comment about you.
What?
Shane needs a handsome mustache.
I had one.
Sandy wants you to have a mustache.
When I was 18, actually when I was 21, and I bought my first bar and restaurant, I looked so young, carding people, that I grew a mustache to look older.
Well, there you are, see?
I'm not going to grow a mustache. I already look old. I don't need to look older.
All right. Sounds good. Let's see. Well, let's go on because you wanted to also talk about the garment district in New
Oh
York.
yeah, this is huge.
Yeah. Yeah, we
We
got to
talked
talk
about
about
this.
that.
Yeah, we talked about this last week. About
Yeah.
turn the boats around, send them. To call President for Life Chi and say, turn your boats around. We're done. I said one of the big ones that has to be redone is the textile industry. Now, at one point, the textile industry employed over 3 million people. 40% of it was in the northeast part of the United States, where a third of the population lives. And this week, the negotiator, help me out with his name, Tom, with China. Lighthizer calls up uh, Mayor de Blasio, and they have a conversation. He said, "Why don't we get the garment industry open again?" And Mayor de Blasio goes, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Well, I've talked to a company and I've ordered 1 million yards of material to be shipped to the garment industry. I want you to get down there and work with these people and set it up to start producing, the knitted
PPEs, personal protection equipment,
PPE,
gowns and stuff like that. PPE,
personal
yeah.
protection equipment."
Yeah.
So, guys, this could be great. All of this opportunity to rebuild the textile. You've seen the ads on TV for socks now.
Oh, yeah.
I have a size 16 shoe.
Yeah, right.
I don't know about you, but I don't have a size 7 to 12, right? Like, what
Yeah, right.
what size foot do you really have? Anyway, the
5
point
sizes?
is,
I don't know.
how huge would that be to see? Because even though it's very mechanical,
Mhm.
it still requires a lot of people to operate wrap and do the work in a facility. So it could be the beginning of what I think your president's already doing, planning on doing, and yay for the opportunity to start it better. Where better than the garment industry? I remember back in the '80s when I went to New York for the first time. There was two things I wanted to go see. Of course, the Empire State Building
Yeah.
and World Trade Center. Of course, well, no, it wasn't built then, but the Empire State Building and the garment industry. Wow, the garment industry was just what a circus, man! I'm telling you, I was looking all over for a monkey. I didn't
Yeah.
have to. I was just, I mean, people were flying up and down the street with those, the things you go in the store and it hangs like
Oh, the
50
yeah,
garments on it.
the racks, the racks
And they
on
had
wheels
wheels.
rolling
Yeah.
up and down the
And
roll
they're
up down
pulling
the
and pushing racks of clothing up and down the stairs. Yeah. Great. Wow. Yeah. Very good time. Very good time.
Yeah. Well, I don't think too much of that is going to come back
Yeah, it is.
like it
All
was
coming back.
then. Yeah.
So,
Unions will kill that industry.
no.
Yeah, they
No,
did.
that'll
Yeah.
make it stronger. No, it does.
Well, it's still going, but I mean, it would really go if it wasn't for the unions and the mob.
Well, you're gonna have to replace every principal product that people buy from China.
Yeah.
They're not going to buy their food anymore, and they never should have.
Mhm.
They're not going to want their medicine, and they never should have. So it comes down to things do you want it or do you need it?
Yeah.
Do I need another bag of 24 socks? I've got 35 pairs in my drawer, right?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So, the bottom line is, yeah, you got to get away from China, got to get away from them fast. This isn't the first,
Mhm.
this isn't the first virus coming from them.
Yeah.
Now they're emboldened. You got to cancel their debt. Well, not their debt. That 1 trillion 68 billion they hold in U.S. bonds. Cancel it.
Just cancel it. Yeah.
That's your starting cost. Okay, we want another trillion from you after that. I mean, so yeah,
I don't know.
this goes into so many ways. It's great. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
I see it happening.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, of course, we're talking about is the governors, are getting ready to open the states, maybe May 1st or sooner, depending on what Trump did today with his little chat as to what's who's going to open and when. Who's going to open and when.
But before the end of the month, he's going to say, "Let's go back to work. The federal government's now reloaded. We have everything to back you up. You have any problems, we will build a sky bridge to you now, like we did to the U.S. to, get us all ready. We're ready. If you have a problem, we'll solve it. If you have a bigger problem, call the vice president and his group. But if you have an economic problem, call me. And I think within 2 days, maybe 3 of that announcement, which I expect next week at the earliest, maybe sooner, 20 states, at least 20, 22 states will open. They will. And
Yeah, I
all
think
that will do
I
is,
think some of them will open early. Yeah, I
no,
think
but I
you're
mean,
right.
I think when I say open, I mean open. I mean
Yeah,
restaurants,
well,
theaters.
they may be open, but I think it's going to be a while before people are going to feel comfortable going to a restaurant or going to a movie for a while.
Not,
I think it's going to
not,
be this. It'll be this summer
no,
before that's going to
but
happen.
the numbers are posted to, there's too much social media. We may have to get more specific even with these numbers that we look at,
Hmm.
on a county to county basis. You have 3,300 counties in your country.
I understand that. Yeah.
Well, I can't juggle 3,300 balls. Give me a break.
Yeah, but the majority of those counties don't have pro basketball, pro baseball, hockey, or
No,
golf
but
or anything
they
else.
have restaurants and coffee shops, and they have theaters, and
And they do, and those will be
they
empty
have
for a while.
stores. And,
I
no,
went
but
to the store this morning wearing my mask. Right, got my mask on, going to the store today. Got my gloves on, and there were more people in the store with masks on than I've ever seen before.
okay. Well, now that you told a story, 2 days ago, my nephew gets off around. He works from 5 in the morning till 1
Mhm.
because he's in the disposal business, and he got home at 2. We left at 2:15. We were back at 5:30. Normal traffic everywhere we went. We went to 5 Costco's because there were 4 things we wanted to get. 5 Costco's. Tom, every one of them, the parking lots were not only were they full, but there were lineups literally outside the building and around it, like at a Disney ride. I'm talking like
What's your
hundreds.
point?
People are people are going out.
They're they're going out, but
That's right.
I go to the store because that's a necessity. I don't have to go to a movie, and also in the store, I'm not sitting right next to someone else. And same thing at a restaurant. I'm not 4 feet away from somebody who's hacking into their
Right.
handkerchief.
Well, yeah. Now science says 6 feet's not enough. You got to be 9, maybe 12,
Ah,
maybe
well,
13. Come here, Tom.
well,
Please. How
I'm not getting
Tom?
near anyone. So just
How do you think the flu virus spreads?
same way. Theaters,
Really?
restaurants,
You
and
think?
theaters and restaurants and everywhere else, and people congregate, of course. So
Excuse me.
see, you're
There you go.
perfect.
That was
See,
a salute to the
hack
flu.
away,
Okay.
man, hack away.
No, but that was a salute to the flu. You caught me.
Yeah,
Making me
right.
laugh. Sorry, folks. I didn't mean to do that. But it's beautiful here. All of our cherry trees have bloomed. We're a bit later than Washington, D.C., but all of our Japanese trees have bloomed, and it's beautiful. And all of our crocuses are up, our daffodils are up, our tulips are starting to come. So we're getting ready for a beautiful spring into summer. And usually this is the case in March and April. We get this great weather. And then May comes along. And of course, June is really sad. June is January here. I've told you that for years. June.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Cold and wet.
April showers bring May mud. Yeah, thanks a lot.
No, we get ours in June.
Yeah, right. Well,
Anyway.
let's see. In other news, why are these things open? Come on, what a piece of crap this program is.
Brian Dennehy, what a great
Brian
actor.
Dennehy, great actor. If you don't know who Brian Dennehy is, he was the sheriff in the first Rambo movie. He was,
That's right.
yeah. He was the sheriff that went out and chased Rambo all
That's
over
right.
the woods and
And
whatever.
played a lot of cops and a lot of mob movies.
Yeah.
He was
a very
president.
versatile guy. Very versatile guy. Yeah.
And the camera loved him. In the movie industry, if the camera loves you, you're set for life, baby.
That's for sure, man. Yeah, he's. I shudder to think how many movies this guy's been in, but he's played attorneys, played drunks, played bad guys, played good guys. He could do it all. So he was right there. So yeah. So
and just to throw this out because it's one thing of mine that I love to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Next time you see a movie, any movie,
Yeah.
Try to catch who says the last line in the movie. Big arguments in contracts over who gives the last line.
Really?
Brian Dennehy was in the top 10 people of last lines in movies.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a huge thing in contracts when stars sign with studios.
Yeah.
They fight over wanting to say the last line in a movie. So if you've never thought about it, think
I
about it
never have
now.
thought about it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's quite fascinating.
So if I said, Shane, come back, that'd be okay.
That would
Huh?
be the end of the show.
That would be the end of the show. Yeah. Did Shane die or not?
And we're
So
getting there anyway. So
that's
be
a good
happy, be
question.
safe, good Eagle
Whoa,
Man.
whoa, whoa, hang on. We're not going anywhere
No,
yet.
aren't we done? I thought we
No,
were
we're
done.
not done.
No. Oh, okay.
Well,
All right.
we may be done. I can't get the stupid thing to play. So anyway, Montana flu stats. We are at 415 cases in Montana. We have 11 new cases. We're still, thankfully, only at 7 dead. 218 have recovered, 21 hospitalizations, 52 hospitalizations, and we spiked again. Shane, Gallatin Valley picked up 2 more cases after a couple of days, 3 days, I think, of no new cases. And let's see, Missoula County picked up 3, Yellowstone picked up 3, Gallatin picked up 2, and Muscle Shoal 2, and Bighorn 1. So that's the Montana, and in the world, I should say, we are currently at 142,000 dead. That's I don't know, what is that, Topeka, Kansas, worldwide, Shane, something like that, and
I
almost,
don't care.
yeah.
British Columbia cases are 1,445, up 35.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to bend the curve, and
Yeah.
that's not a. It's holding. It's flat. The number increased.
Yeah.
Deaths were up 3 to 58, which is really remarkable. And
Yeah.
we've had 879 recoveries. So
That's pretty good.
we're at like 58% recovery of people. Canada, 25,552. We're up 1,269. Worst case is in Quebec.
Yeah.
64, an increase in 64 deaths, less than 10% to 767. And
Yeah,
recovery,
you've only got 10% of the country infected, 30,000. Aren't you 30 million?
37.
37? Yeah, okay.
That's less than 1%. 10% would be 3.7 million.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
370,000 would be 1%. So
Well, I've always been math challenged. So,
this is like 0.08.
Yeah.
Recovery is 7,666, up 600 or 592. So again, the recovery numbers, are in our country are 30%, or 35% or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's we're trying to hold the line and mitigate and flatten the curve, like everyone said.
Well, the other thing we got to think about, in the United States, we got 31,000 dead, 11,000 alone, 11,400 are in New York City, another 1,100 in Nassau County in New York, another 693 in Suffolk, and 668 in Westchester.
I don't believe that number in New York City, because there's several stories in the last 24 hours about 3,700 cases they've added to that number, and they can't confirm by pathology if it was not an underlying cause.
Well, no, they can't. Well, they can't with, unless you're in perfect health and you die from the virus alone.
Well, Tom, that's why 62,000 people in your country this year have died from the flu, because they get the flu and they have some underlying problem that is aggravated, and they die.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't say that all these people necessarily died from corona. They may have died because of corona, but those are totally two different numbers.
Right. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Science is in trouble, and they're trying very hard to cover their butts. And the guy making it worse for all of them is the guy that's the head of the World Health Organization.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not look science is not going to look good in 6 months. It really is not going to look good.
From our Facebook line, we have a gal that got her stimulus check. It is a loan against next year's taxes. No, it is not.
Excellent.
It is
No, it's
not a
not.
loan against next
No,
year's taxes. It is
you get
non-taxable.
free money. You get
It
free
is
money.
non-taxable. Your 2,400 or 1,200 or
That's right.
500 per kid is absolutely non-taxable. So by
It's
all
free
means,
money. That was one of the things the Republicans demanded be in the
Mhm. Yeah.
legislation, that they're not income.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Not
where
like
we are.
not like us, from our government. Right?
Yeah.
We get our pension and then they tax it again.
Yeah. Well, good. All right.
Makes you feel right at home, like you're part
Yeah.
of the crowd. You're part of the crowd.
All right.
You're in. You got you still have. You're still in the game, right?
All right. If you say so.
Well, doesn't paying taxes make you? You're in the game, right?
Yeah.
Food in the fight.
Anyway, she said she read the fine print. I don't know because I haven't gotten mine, and it's been reported everywhere. It's non-taxable. So,
Yeah.
if she has a loan, that may be something else. But if she got her $1,200, yeah. Let's see. Steve says, "Great show for Shane. A question, and I got a YouTube file here, but I can't open it while we're on the air. So maybe you could, Steve, if you want to tell me what the question is, we'll try and get it answered here before we leave because Shane's got to do a market update here."
I do. Wow, we are going over.
Yeah. Well,
how cool is that? Okay, here we go. Dow Jones
we have
up
a starting
367.
time. We've never had an ending time ever.
So the Dow
I
Jones,
don't know what your problem is.
the Dow Jones had made a huge recovery, Tom.
Yes,
At one point,
it
it was
has.
down over. It was down over 400 points, and now it's up 367. So that's like a 800% increase from the low of the day. That's huge. So it's up 367, 1.5% to 23,871. We're getting back to pre-numbers, buddy. 2008 on the S&P 500 up 60. Now Standard & Poor's is a rating company, and they've picked 500 companies that are the best in the U.S., and that's why it's called the S&P 500. For those of you that don't know, NASDAQ 100 8,878 up 287. NASDAQ is the National Association of Dealers, and that's why they set up their old phone call trading into an exchange of their own. And then you have the S&P VIX. It was down 40.11. The S&P is Standard & Poor's VIX for determining the market, and if it's down, it says the market's going up. If it trades up, it says the market's going up. That's simple. Everyone is marginal, very marginal in Europe, but Italy's off marginally too, so nothing really to report there. And of course, we always wonder about those great friends of ours, across the Pacific, right? Like, how are they doing? Well, after the huge landslide in South Korea, their market's doing quite well today, so they're happy. India's up great, but the Nike is down significantly, which means their trade is off because they're buying government debt. Anyway, the Kospi in Korea, I'm skating, it's up 1 point. But they had a huge success yesterday. The government was reelected in a landslide because of the way they handled the COVID virus there. Crude oil, $19.60, down 27 cents. Now, if this doesn't burn your oranges, Brent, now that's the price we tell you that this is what is set in England for the Russians to sell oil to Europe, 28.31. Now, historically, and I mean going back 20 years, there's always been usually a 10% difference between Brent and West Texas. Well, it's almost $10. So this deal that your president's talking about, I don't know. We'll see. They may be producing less, but they're charging a heck of a lot more. That looks like that was the deal. You want to do this. We're not buying any oil from you. and you want to sell it to other people at $28, go ahead. Ours is 1973. Natural gas is 168. It's up about a dime. It's got to get to $2, folks.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then gold is $1,717 up 81.
Mhm.
Silver is up marginal to 1545. Here we go again today, though. Soybeans 845, 750 down 475.
Wow. That's not
529 down 1125, folks. Where's the $250 billion in buying, farm products? This is the one thing we forecasted. It doesn't happen. China is in serious trouble. So all the debt of the United States is hot to buy. They're all down marginally, which means when they drop, the price goes up because people are buying it. And by the way, in the last quarter, folks, Japan bought it 100 billion more of your debt. So they're at 1,200,000,000,000. China's only at 1,068,000,000,000. Finally, the currencies, 108 on the euro, dropped below 109. The pound sterling is holding at 124, but broke the 1/4. And the Canadian dollar is at 141. So you only get 39% of your money, but you can't come here because our border is closed. Mexico, not looking good, 23.90.
Yeah, they're in real trouble, man.
And Russia's in a big trouble too. Their currency is starting to fade. Now they're at 74 to 1 to the US dollar.
Yeah, they're going to have to abandon China and come somewhere else.
Yeah, the virus is not only hitting Moscow, but it's hitting the Russian-Chinese border and the major cities. There's a couple of 10 million populated cities on the Chinese side of the Russian border that have been hit, and they say it came in from Russia. So China's back in the game with the virus and not looking good about it.
Yeah.
There's your market run up. So
all right. From our Facebook line, I don't think she's saying it's taxable. I think she's saying that it goes against your return next year as a loan. It's not a loan. It's like a tax return. It's non-taxable. It's like insurance, life insurance, not taxable. It's money. It's free money. It's done and gone. Now,
consider it a tip, okay?
Yeah, consider it a tip. Yeah, the government just tipped you a little bit there. So
they gave you a little tip for being a good American and sheltering in.
Now, one thing that is true, if you go to your bank and ask them to defer your payment, they will, but they're going to charge you the same amount of interest and everything else as it goes along. Same with your credit card. If you want to defer your credit card payment this month, you got to let the credit card people know, but they are going to keep charging you interest on whatever your balance is if you have one. So we're talking about two different things here. So
that's right.
The $1,200, $2,400, or $500 for kid, or whatever it is that you get, that's done. That doesn't go on your tax return next year. It's not a loan. It's not a gift. Well, it is a gift.
Right. And all of those out there listening, and this is a tale of experience. If you've been a good customer and paid your monthly payment on your credit card in the last 24 months, not having missed it, particularly with this time right now, if you've got a $5,000 limit, go and tell them you want it to go to 15, or you're going to another credit card company. Okay,
go to 15. What?
15,000 limit on it.
Limit?
Yeah.
No.
I didn't say use it. I said raise it.
Well, it doesn't matter if you put it on there. That's debt.
No, I didn't say that. I said your limit. If your limit is 5,000,
go to 15. Yeah. No.
Go to 15.
Now, if you want to go to something, tell them the 28%. How about lowering that to 18?
No, they're not going to do that. That's not the point. The point is you increase your credit. If you have a credit card with a $15,000 limit on it, it increases your credit huge. And so because the amount you owe is smaller percentage-wise, and the fact you continue making continue to make a permanent monthly statement and show you pay well, then it's good for your credit. And in an emergency, you have it. Never use it, but in an emergency, you have it.
So I would strongly advise that you not go out.
I didn't advise anyone. I said go and try it.
Trying it would be advise it.
No, that's not what I said.
Go trying it. Go try it. That sounds like advice. That sounds like advice.
No, it's not
Try it.
advice. It's not advice, and I'm not telling people to do it. I said go try it. I didn't say. I'm very specific about what I say. I get tired of listening to people on TV that I have to watch, and I can't believe some of the things these people say. They talk before they think. You got to think.
Apparently they do.
Yeah, they don't think talk. They
All
talk.
right. Okay, Tom, I'm hoping. Okay, Tom, I'm hoping. So it's just my trust meter is kind of short these days. Well, I think you could take your check to the bank safely. So anyway. All right, we got to go. Text line 406-478-8298. You can get a hold of us anytime you want there, 24/7, 365. Also, our app chat line is AM 1450 KMMS. Get it at the Apple Store or Google Play. And don't forget to listen to our 370 plus shows at KMMSAM.com. Just click on Tom and Shane's podcast. And if you're watching us on YouTube, by all means, go down in the right-hand corner there and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we would appreciate that very much if you would. So, all right, Shane, say goodbye, man.
Everyone, thank you for coming and watching us, or sitting and taking the time to watch us. And we hope you'll share it with your friends, because we think it's informative and fun. We're trying this. We're going to try it for 6 months, see how the numbers work. So if we get the numbers, we'll continue. If we don't, we'll slide quietly in the night, because we're solitary men. We do that anyway. So be happy, be safe, live in the moment, live to work, which we have to talk about someday. And God bless all the people in the United States and Canada.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, and we'll be back. So, hey, don't forget, check us out every day on Facebook Live at this time. And we got a starting time, but we don't have an ending time. So, but we're going to end now. So, all right. Thanks, Shane. Thanks for being here. Best co-host in radio history. Tom Eaglehoff, your afternoon mayor. And hey, we'll see everybody tomorrow afternoon. So be safe out there. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.